On my 80-pound weight loss journey, I found there were 3 big reasons why I was not losing weight. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about how I overcame them. So the first big reason why it's hard to lose weight is because of homeostasis. So basically, your body is constantly trying to keep everything the same. And it's really incredible how tightly controlled everything in your body is. But it can be super frustrating when you're trying to lose weight because it's almost like your body is fighting against you. It doesn't want to lose weight. It wants to hang on and it wants to stay where it's at. So like I would start to exercise and then I would feel a lot hungrier because my body was, just saying, hey, you're burning more calories. So now you need to eat more food to keep everything the same. On the other hand, when I would eat less food, my body would be like, oh, well, you don't need to move as much because we want to keep everything the same. And it helped me to start to understand that, my body was really just trying to keep me alive. And when I really started to look at the science behind it, it made sense. Like with starvation, that's actually a really dangerous thing. And if you don't have much body fat, that can be super dangerous in times of famine. On the other hand, your body can live for a very long time in an overweight state. In fact, even if it's severely obese, that might take 10 years off your lifespan. So, on the other hand, you can die really quickly with not enough food and not enough body fat. What helped make this a lot easier was just to realize that my body, even though it had the right intentions, was giving me the wrong cues based on where I was. So in other words, I was obese. And, if I did a quick reality check, I realized, yes, I do need to lose weight. So that meant understanding that basically I was going to have to move my body a little bit more than what my body was trying to tell me I should move. And I needed to eat a little less than what my body was saying I should eat. Again, because if I pay attention to its cues and that's it's going to keep me in that same place where I'm at. So I had to just go against the grain just a little bit. Of course, you don't want to take this to an unhealthy extreme. And so I find it really helpful to always check your weight against things like the BMI or check your waist circumference against, what the recommendations are so that you know whether you should be listening to your body's cues about, okay, you're hungry, you need to eat now versus, do you need to still lose some weight? The second big reason is just the abundance of easy calories that we have. So up until very recently in human history, the problem has been not having enough food. Starvation has been the problem. But these days, our problem, at least here in the West, is that we have an abundance of food. We have so much food now, and it's so cheap that it's really easy to eat too many calories. Our problems are obesity and type 2 diabetes, as opposed to, starvation and malnutrition. Now, I think this is a really good problem to have. I'm very grateful that this is our problem and not the opposite problem. But it is still a problem, so what can we do about it? Food is pretty cheap right now. Even if you talk about inflation, it's really not as bad as it used to be. In 1900, for example, Americans were spending about 50% of their income on groceries. So, these days we spend about 13%. So we spend a lot less and we get a lot more food for our money. Added to that, the food is super convenient. You don't even have to go through the trouble of cooking it a lot of times. You can just on your phone tap a few times and order food. They'll bring it to your door. You don't have to cook it. All you have to do is pay for it. And this makes it so that it's really easy to eat too much food. It helps to make these things less convenient. So, for example, don't buy a lot of convenience foods. By the way, convenience foods are engineered to the bliss point, meaning that it's really hard to stop on those foods. You just keep eating and eating and eating. For example, a bag of Doritos, like a 9-ounce bag of Doritos, which is pretty easy to eat the whole thing, that's 1,400 calories, which is enough calories for a whole day's worth of food, depending on your height and weight and what your weight loss goals are. Another thing you can do is simply cook the food that you're craving, as opposed to going out to eat and getting it or buying it prepackaged. So for example, instead of buying Chips Ahoy, make some chocolate chip cookies. And if you do that, you won't feel deprived because you still get to have the thing you're craving and you're going to have the effort connected to it. And it'll make it a lot easier to stop at the right point. Ultimately, to deal with this problem, it's going to make it a lot easier if you create some sort of boundary with food and you stick with it. Now, this is why I love intermittent fasting so much, because it gives you a time boundary around food. It gives you a reason to say no to the abundant food. I mean, if you don't have any kind of boundary, it's really easy to justify, a bite here and a bite there. Like, why wouldn't you? It's right there and it tastes really good. But creating some sort of boundary with food is helpful. And once you have boundaries with food, then you will start to see the scale move down. Now, the third big thing that makes it hard to lose weight is that food is comforting. When you eat, the dopamine in your brain increases. And so in other words, you feel good when you eat. And if you often turn to food because you're feeling stressed out, then you are constantly, getting this connection between, okay, I have a problem, I'm stressed, I eat and I feel better. And this can make it really hard to lose weight. And it can also make it really easy to gain weight. The problem is you might not even realize that you're doing this. I found that when I was obese, I had no idea I was really stress eating, or at least I thought I don't do it that often. But with intermittent fasting, I realized I'm doing this a lot. So then I had to realize what can I do instead? The good news is there are a lot of things you can do that will work just as well, if not better, to alleviate stress, and it will help you to actually lose weight. The thing that helped me the most was to go for a walk. So whenever I felt stressed, instead of going to the kitchen, I went out for a walk, or I would just walk around inside my house, getting my steps in. I had a step goal each day. And so that always helped me because it gave me something to do other than to eat. I also found journaling and just talking out my problem with another person really helpful. I found that that was one of the big reasons why I had gained weight. It wasn't, that I just didn't have any stopping sense when it came to food. What I found was the major reason why I had gained weight and I gotten to the point of being obese was, I was using food to calm my stress. And once I realized that, and then I said, okay, I can't do that anymore, the weight loss came a lot easier. So remember, your body is wanting to stay in homeostasis. You have a ton of really easy calories all around you, and food is really comforting. That reality makes losing weight difficult. What I found was that really knowing is half the battle here. Once I was just aware of these things, it was easier to then act on them because I knew okay, calories are really easy, so I need to make this more difficult on myself. Or, food is really comforting, so I need to watch out for that. Or, hey, my body's going to tell me, I should eat a little bit more and maybe I should just eat a little bit less. So I hope that this video helps you on your weight loss journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.